that good enough?
Good. Okay, just quickly so you don't, arms don't go to sleep. Hey, that'd be fine. Are we ready?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Good evening. Before I begin, I want to say that the University of South Florida values the right to free speech and protecting the constitutional right for individuals and groups on campus to assemble and express themselves peacefully without violating university policy or putting others in danger. Today at around 2 p.m., 75 to 100 protesters assembled at the center of the Martin Luther King Plaza here at USF and Tampa campus. Several times it was communicated that the protest would have to end at 5 p.m. At one point, the protesters formed a tight circle, interlocking their arms in unison as a show of force. Another protester began handing out wooden shields and umbrellas. They used those wooden shields and umbrellas to fortify their stance in the circle. And this time, the protest was no longer peaceful. At 4:55 p.m., the protesters were given a clear warning that they had 15 minutes to end the demonstration and disperse. While some began to leave, the ones in the circle began donning gas masks, gloves, and other items to cover their faces. At approximately 5:20, law enforcement issued numerous direct orders that the protest was over and anyone remaining would be arrested and that law enforcement did not want to see anyone get hurt. Before the situation could escalate any further, chemical agents were released. At that time, USF Police Department, Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office, Tampa Police Department, and the Florida Highway Patrol members began to move in a coordinated manner. Several protesters who refused to cooperate were taken into custody and placed under arrest. Throughout the disbursement, several other protesters were also arrested. By 6 o'clock p.m., order was restored and the area was cleared of all threats as police remained to maintain security and a safe environment for students on the campus. So far, that's a statement I have. Do you have any questions?
How many people were arrested?
We have 10 arrests so far.
What are the ground rules for protesters going forward if you have more action?
The university is a public university. Again, as I stated at the front end of this statement, we respect, we honor, we cherish the right to free speech out here. We encourage students to exercise free speech, but they have to do so in a safe manner and within the accordance to university policy.
The school had said you heard on social media people were using the objects, but you saw people in person using them to resist arrest?
Yes, they had used the shields to place in front of them to fortify their circle to prevent law enforcement from getting past.
Do you know how many people who were arrested were students? Were they all students, or?
We're still working through that information.
Was any officers injured at all?
One officer received some injuries, not associated with this group, but with a different arrest.
Any students injured at all that you can talk about?
Not that I'm aware of.
What's your plan throughout tonight and tomorrow? We saw you guys have some cameras. Did you just put those in the plaza?
Well, we're going to monitor the area just like we monitor all of campus. I mean, this is a peaceful campus, and it should be a place that people feel free to walk about. So we're going to continue our normal patrols and encourage anybody that wants to engage in free speech to do so safely, and we will support that right.
And is the deadline going to be the same tomorrow at 5?
If it occurs tomorrow, yes, the same rules are going to apply. But it's going to be up to the groups and how they bring themselves to campus and what they bring.
Chief, there will be some who say, in fact, we've already heard it from protesters, that they had umbrellas, they had shields, but they weren't actively being violent to law enforcement. They were anticipating law enforcement's use of force. Can you give us more clarification about how?
My only question to that is, if you're out here peacefully protesting, why should you need shields and umbrellas?
Did anyone throw anything at officers at all?
During the arrest process, they were throwing tear gas back at us.
Okay, guys, thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
We've got a lot to do.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
And if you a shield, please. Oh, thank you.